Volkswagen is coming out with a brand new hot hatch, and no, it's not the GTI. We're going to look at that in just a second. And also, VW wants to own your car forever. My name is Eric, and this is RevMatchTV. So the Munich Auto Show is going on right now, and so we're going to head over to Motor 1 and check out something called the VW ID.X electric concept. So this image right here, this is the CEO of VW. This is Ralph Brandstetter, and this is based on the ID3, which is something that we do not get in North America, unfortunately, but it is VW's electric offering that is selling throughout Europe right now and probably other parts of the globe. So what we've got here is a performance hot hatch. So a couple months ago we had this concept car called the ID.X, and it was powered by two motors, 329 horsepower, all-wheel drive, so two electric motors, and it wasn't really sure if VW is actually going to push that into production. So this week at the Munich Auto Show, the CEO of VW has confirmed that this is going to go into production at some point. We don't exactly know quite yet when, but they are saying sometime next year. So it's essentially confirmed that we're not going to see it this year, but we are going to see it sometime next year. And it's likely to be called the ID3.GTX. So this article is saying, and this is a little bit of speculation here, that it likely won't get the same potent powertrain as the concept. Instead, VW is expected to install a dual motor powertrain from the ID4 GTX into the new ID3 GTX. Again, we just get the ID4 here. We don't get the GTX variant as far as I know. And in the ID4, we get 295 horsepower, which is about 219 kilowatts. So still pretty good. A little bit below the concept, but this should be pretty exciting in a hot hatch. And the reason why it should be kind of exciting, I guess, for an electric vehicle is a hot hatch, is that it is lighter than the ID4. And so the concept went to 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds. So this is from the concept. This is the interior. The front dash, the front display is definitely somewhere in between a GTI and I guess an ID4 to some degree. So just a little bit more information on the ID4. Right now in North America, it only does come with the single motor. We're here over at the VW website, and right now you can see that it only comes with rear-wheel drive, summer 2021, but they are going to have this all-wheel drive variant starting apparently sometime in February 2022. And according to a Car and Driver, they're saying that we might get the 295 horsepower ID4 GTX sometime soon. So what we're looking at here with the ID3 GTX is essentially a lighter variant than the ID4, which we get in North America. Now this ID3 GTX should be quicker than the ID4. We already talked about that. They're saying that it is 200 kilograms or 441 pounds lighter than the standard production model. And of course, we're not sure exactly how much of that weight savings would really make it into the production package, because again, this is the ID.X is just a concept car right now. So when are we going to see it? So 2022, apparently it is confirmed that it's not going to be around for 2021. It's not going to break cover in 2021. I have been talking a lot about Ford and Toyota and Japanese brands for the most part, but I am expanding my coverage now to include electrics in a more, I guess, formal way. Also looking at German cars too. Let me know if there's something else that you want me to cover. What areas do you think I should cover? But I'm definitely going to be focusing a little bit more on electrics because they're kind of new. It's exciting, and this is the way things are going. And I do have a Mach-E GT Performance edition on order, hoping to get that sometime in November. I'm going to be taking that to the track. We're going to be doing all kinds of really interesting videos with that car. But before we get to that, did you know that VW wants to own your car forever? Okay, so that is a little bit of a clickbait title, I must admit, but over here at Automotive News, they got a very interesting story on VW and their strategy to reuse the batteries in their vehicles. I don't think it's any secret that battery technology for EVs is still something that is still very much in development, hasn't really been fully worked out yet, and there's a lot of issues with batteries. For example, the battery packs are incredibly expensive. There is a lot of concern right now over how they are manufactured. You've got rare metals, you've got lithium, you've got cobalt, you've got nickel. These are mined in parts of Africa and other parts of the world under not very good conditions. There's a lot of environmental concerns also about the toxicity of recycling these batteries. It's not a very coordinated process right now. There's a lot of heavy metals in the batteries, and essentially you don't want them in landfills. So what VW is proposing to do to sort of alleviate some of this issue is to keep the batteries out of the landfills as long as possible. And what they're saying is that they're planning to release the used EVs, at least starting in Europe, as part of their strategy, starting with the ID4. So what they're saying over at Automotive News is that VW plans to crack an industry barrier and offer used vehicle leases on its ID family of electrics, including those in North America. So this is coming here as part of a strategy to keep the control over the valuable batteries. So this is according to the Volkswagen Group CEO Herbert Diess. In Europe, we're trying to get a second lease and even a third lease in order to keep the cars in our hands. So they think the battery life is going to be about 1,000 charging cycles, about 350,000 kilometers, 215,000 miles. And so they want to keep the battery as long as they possibly can and reuse these batteries. Over here at Scientific American, they talk about the circle of recycling and what is possible to do with electric batteries right now in this, I guess, ecosystem that doesn't quite exist yet with batteries. So you can have direct recycling, which is the most desirable version of it, and then there's hydrometallurgy and pyrometallurgy where you're refining it. And right now, one of the big issues is that the cost of getting the materials out of the ground is cheaper than it is to recycle at this point. So this is one of the big issues. So VW is hoping to address this issue by leasing the car 2 and 3 times. They're saying that even as the value of the car depreciates, the value of the battery remains high, making the secondary lease more affordable. And also they're talking about reusing these batteries in other applications. Things like, for example, like the Tesla Powerwall. There's other companies that have this type of technology where you can install a battery in your garage. And so VW is thinking about reusing the batteries for those types of applications as well, because over time they degrade. They say you might have 70 or 80% of the original storage capacity, and that might be pretty good for a house. And Toyota has not exactly been doubling down on EVs. They have this hybrid strategy, this combined strategy where they're going to use different technologies, including hydrogen apparently, to power their future vehicles. Over here at Automotive News, they are reporting that Toyota is going to spend $14 billion on battery by 2030, including solid-state batteries. Apparently this is a very difficult technology to develop. Hasn't really been successfully done on a mass scale that is economical yet, so Toyota is working on that, and this article is saying they're planning to slash the cost of batteries by half in the second part of this decade. As you know, we've got the bZ4X concept, which Toyota announced a little bit earlier this year. They should be rolling something like this into production. There's going to be some more announcements. I was speaking with Toyota a couple weeks ago at the Corolla Cross event, and the timeline to develop these solid-state batteries is 2025, which is a pretty tight timeline. Apparently, they already have been testing a working prototype as of last year, and they're looking at using these batteries not just in hybrid vehicles, not just in pure EV vehicles, but also in hybrids. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.